Hello everyone! This is Modern Warships. Today we will tell you about a unique warship class, a heavy aircraft carrying cruiser. The first prototypes combining the capabilities of an artillery ship and an aircraft carrier appeared back in the 30s of the 20th century. But these were converted cruisers with an installed flight deck for a small amount of aircrafts, due to the imperfections of the design and, most importantly, the problems with maintaining the flight deck operational under enemy fire. They were not effective either as aircraft carriers or as attack ships. This situation changed in the second half of the last century, with the advent of missile weapons and more advanced air defense systems, as well as the helicopters. In the 60s, various countries began the development and production of helicopter carriers, ships with the missile weapons equipped with the attack helicopters on board. The Soviet Union, claimed to be one of the largest maritime powers, closely watched the success of the Allied naval aviation in the World War II. However, there were reasons that prevented the USSR from creating its own aircraft carriers. One of them was the Nikolaev shipyards, which have sufficient capability to create such large ships. They were located in the Black Sea, the exit from which through the Bosporus and Dardanelles were closed to aircraft carriers, according to the Montreux Convention. Nevertheless, the solution to the problem was the creation of the completely new type of the ships, where the main type of weapons were missiles. Aircraft and helicopters were declared auxiliary. Launchers of powerful P-500 Basalt missiles were placed on board of these large ships. The appearance of the prototypes of aircraft with the possibility of vertical takeoff and landing, Yak-36, would bring naval aviation to a completely new level. However, the lack of modern missiles and radars on board, as well as the difficulties associated with the operation and, in fact, very weak weapons, all this led to the closure of the Soviet aircraft vertical takeoff and landing program. In this regard, it was decided to modernize the project. The flight deck was quite expanded in order to be able to receive modified land aviation aircrafts, such as MiG-29, Su-25 and Su-27. The missile armament was also changed. P-700 Granit were placed on these ships. Anyway, this didn't save the project of Soviet aircraft carrying cruisers. The absence of the nuclear power plant and the steam catapult to launch heavier aircrafts, ongoing problems with aviation, which urgently had to be modernized under extremely cramped conditions, and most importantly, the collapse of the Soviet Union, all this had a devastating effect on Soviet aircraft carriers. Most of them were scrapped for metal or sold to other countries. Such a fate befell to the Varyag, completed up to 70%, which was sold to China in 1992. At Chinese shipyards, it was repaired, painted and modernized for modern weapons. It was decided to use the ship as an aircraft carrier. Due to that, the missile silos were welded, and the number of installed missile systems were significantly reduced in favor of fuel and spare parts for aviation. The main aircraft of the ship, now called Liaoning, was J-15, which is the modernized copy of the Soviet Su-27. In 2019, the first aircraft carrier assembled in China, called Shandong, was constructed. Many design solutions used in the development of Soviet aircraft cruisers were applied on this aircraft carrier. However, it doesn't have any missile launchers at all, but due to this, the aircraft fleet has been increased to 40 warplanes. The ship also has 2 elevators for lifting aircrafts to the deck. In the Modern Warships game, Shandong is located on the 2nd tier, and there are no missiles on it either. Its wing consists of Chinese J-15 attack aircraft, J-10 fighters and WZ-10 helicopter, developed on the basis of the Russian Project 941 of the Kamov Design Bureau. This is where the story of the heavy aircraft carrying cruisers ends. But it continues in Modern Warships. Just download the game, come and play with us. See you online, commanders!